listeners. I'm your host Jayasree, and you're listening to TALRadio powered by Touch a Life Foundation. Welcome to Leadership for Life with Cavanaugh, President of 15B Wellbeing, a company dedicated towards creating learning experiences for leading corporations, workplaces, teams, groups, and individuals. Because they believe that no one should sacrifice well-being for performance. In today's interview, we are going to talk about the most basic attribute for a leader. No, not just for a leader, for every single being on this planet. And that is confidence. Why is it so important? We know it almost. But today we are going to try and understand it in a little deeper manner on why is confidence really important and how you can work on building your confidence, especially when you're in a leadership role. So without any further ado, let's please welcome Kira onto our show. Hello, Kira. Welcome back on Tal Radio.
Hello everyone. It's so good to be with you today. I'm super excited about this topic. We've got a
Yeah,
lot of good stuff in store for you today.
absolutely. I really can't wait. And before we started, I was kind of thinking, I am going to get pretty good takeaways today. I can't wait to implement them. Who is not in need of building confidence? Everybody is. Everybody is.
For sure. That is the
Yeah.
truth.
So, my first question to you. What is confidence according to you? And how does building self confidence impact a leader's ability to inspire trust and credibility among the team members and their stakeholders and the companies that they deal with, etc.?
Yeah, let's start with the basics. What is confidence? Confidence is believing in yourself, believing that you have a gift, you have a voice, you have a perspective, you have experience that is of value. Plain and simple. So if we lack confidence, perhaps it's because you're questioning whether you're special, whether you're valued or valuable, whether you matter, whether it matters whether you say this thing or do this task or accomplish this goal. And there are many, many, many reasons why we may not feel confident. And as you mentioned, Jayasree, that confidence to me is a lifelong pursuit. You may feel very confident in one aspect of your life, and then you try something new and maybe your confidence is shaken. Or maybe you start a new job in a new company and your confidence is shaken. Or maybe you become a parent for the first time and maybe you feel very confident in your professional life, but now you're in a new place and space, unaware of best practices or how to proceed. And so we can lack self-confidence. So this topic is for everybody, no matter how you're showing up today, no matter how confident you're feeling today, what we're going to share with you can be really beneficial. So to the second part of your question, what is the role of confidence for a leader? When I understand my value, when I fundamentally believe in my core that my perspective, my experience, my voice, my ideas, my mistakes, my vulnerabilities, that all of that creates this package that is me, and nobody else is like me, then I can bring that power, not power in all capital letters, that power that comes from inside of ourselves, that we exude and convey even without saying anything, just showing up. When we feel that way with conviction, with belief, then we can lead other people. Then we can step into vulnerability and share parts of ourselves that may be difficult. It becomes easier for us to say, I don't know, or I need help. And anytime as a leader, we can be, as a human being, we can be sharing and showing that vulnerability, that willingness to step into this space together, to share ideas, to listen, to talk, to learn. Anytime we're doing that, we're sending out that energy to other people. Other people will then be attracted to that energy because we're just naturally drawn to people that have skills and talents and abilities and perspectives that we don't have. As long as we feel confident in ourselves, we can come into those situations from a place of power.
Well said, Kyra. That's absolutely perfect. And in my understanding, to accept your vulnerabilities itself is confidence, from what you said, to summarize it in a easier manner also. And for me, it was always difficult to accept that, that side of you, which is really vulnerable. And I'm glad you brought that up, and I won't do that anymore. So.
Well, it can be hard to be confident about the parts that we don't like about ourselves, or the parts that are less certain or less educated or less aware. It can be hard for us to be open about the mistakes we've made or about the concerns we have or even our insecurities. So confidence doesn't come from perfection. It doesn't come from this sense of, I have accomplished so much. Look at me. Aren't I great? You may feel that way. That may be sometimes how confidence shows up. But I think that can be kind of the stereotypical way we might think about confidence. So when we can actually step into that moment of openness, like you were saying, Jayasree, around vulnerability, that is actual confidence, and that takes practice.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for elaborating that for me. And why is it important for leaders to identify and leverage their strengths as a foundation for building confidence in their leadership capabilities? Now, this is kind of a little tricky with what we spoke earlier, but how can that work?
Yeah, so to me, as a leader, when we're showing up with confidence, what really stands out for me is that we're role modeling for everyone around us what confidence can look and feel like. So let me give you an example. You might think of a leader that, so let's do this exercise. So I encourage everyone just to take a big breath in through the nose and exhale out through the mouth. And imagine, visualize someone, maybe you know them, maybe you've seen or heard or been exposed to them, someone who is a confident leader. So see if someone comes to mind. So I remember in my very, very early days of my career, there was a leader in the company I was working for who was so impressive. He seemed so confident. And when he would be speaking at a meeting, he'd actually get down off the stage. We'd all be looking up at him as employees, right? He was the head of this organization, and he'd be up on stage. And then I remember he would take his microphone and he'd step down off the stage and walk among all of us. And I remember that impressed me so much. Because in my head, I thought a confident leader was someone who would command the stage, who would stand behind the podium or walk around on the stage effortlessly, boldly, speaking extemporaneously, just speaking off the cuff about whatever it was that he was thinking and sharing his perspective. So when he stepped off the stage, it totally surprised me. And as a very inexperienced corporate person, I thought, oh my gosh, look at the power that he possessed by stepping off the stage, walking among all of us. And this was also his management style. He would talk to the most junior people if he was in the elevator or walking around on a floor in the office building. So what's my point here? The point is that when we show up as a confident leader, we're being watched. People are learning from us. And so a confident leader understands that awesome responsibility and that role and embraces that, recognizing the power of your words, recognizing that a powerful leader isn't just someone who speaks loudly. Sometimes the most powerful people, the most confident people, are the ones who lean back in their chair and who listen more than they talk. So rather than thinking that I can only be confident if I possess these skills, if I have this life experience, if I've really thought through whatever it is that we're talking about, rather than thinking that confidence comes from mimicking or imitating somebody you believe is confident, that person you are visualizing, instead, if you think, wait, confidence comes from me fully embracing who I am, my natural style, and all the other things that go into confidence, then you're conveying to people around you that it's okay for them, to be showing up in their way. And that's how we can really create a support network and a community to build that confidence, not just for ourselves as leaders, but for each other.
Wonderfully said. And the example that you quoted of your leader is actually very impressive. That has left a lasting impression on you for so long. And for some, it may seem as a very tiny gesture. For some, it might not really come across something that you really need to focus on. But, it's definitely in the beholder's eye, the way you perceive what you're looking at and understanding. So I really love that example, and it definitely shows what a true leader he definitely is. So moving on, how can setting and achieving incremental goals contribute to the development of confidence in leadership over time? That's difficult. If you don't reach a certain goal, you're kind of shattered at that moment. A lot of people kind of have the setback, take the setback really bad, and when you're in a leadership role, all the more the responsibility is even higher. And how can you balance that? And how can that development in your goals contribute to your confidence?
How big is your gap? Are you setting goals that are possible, that are realistic, that are aligned with who you are and what you want? Or are you setting goals that you think are expected of you, that you see other people setting? Are they achievable? Are they realistic? To me, a confident leader is going to answer that question in a way that sets them up for success. I am confident in my ability to do one push-up every morning. So there's science behind this idea that when we're learning a new skill or we're building a new habit or a new routine, that we should start very, very, very small and set the goal to be so small that it's almost silly. Wait, what do you mean, Kyra, you're going to do one push-up every morning? But what scientists have learned is that we build confidence when we set the goal so simply that we can easily achieve it. So I get up every morning and I do my one push-up. How long do you think it's going to take before I get bored with the fact that I achieve that goal? A week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, who knows? We're all different. So then what's the next step going to be? We're all thinking as we're listening to this, well, I'll do 2 push-ups. All right, great. Well, when you're done achieving the goal of 1 push-up, then you can do 2. And you can decide when you want to do 3. So the idea is, what scientists have shown is, if I say I'm going to wake up every morning and I'm going to do the number of push-ups of my age, people they're much less likely to succeed. And then what happens to your confidence? Your confidence decreases. Oh, I'm not strong enough. Oh, I'm lazy. And we're just going to create all of these assumptions and guilt and shame and failure and all this stuff. And that undermines confidence. So if we take that push-up analogy and we apply it to any goal that we want to set for ourselves, the illustration basically shows that we should set goals that are achievable. You might listen to one of our radio shows and think, oh, there are 3 or 4 things that I took away from this that I'd really like to start working on. And I always say with people that I'm teaching, I always suggest if you identify 3 or 4 things you want to change, that's great. No problem. Write them all down. But don't try to do them all at once. Pick one. Pick one thing. Why? Because the same idea as with the push-up. The more that you practice and achieve that one thing, the more we build our confidence to be able to achieve the next thing and the next thing. The biggest mistake we can make is set a goal because we think we should, because someone else expects it, because that's what other people are doing. And then that's not our goal. So how likely are we to achieve someone else's goal, someone else's expectation? Perhaps when we're young, it may be more likely because we feel that pressure from our family or our friends or our school or our community. But as we age and we come into our own awareness of ourselves, our goals have to be ours and they need to be achievable. That's how we build confidence.
Beautiful. The thing that you said, do one push-up a day and don't try to do everything together. I think that hit me hard because I need to work on it. A lot of people like me who are juggling between multiple things, being a parent, working, trying to do like most of the things in their life together, it's kind of difficult for us to, prioritize one thing over the other and work out on that first and then do the next thing. And we kind of get lost in that. No direction. We're just lost. And you have so beautifully summarized why it is important to keep much simpler goals and, try and make it as simple as you can and then achieve it, feel achievable, and then top it on with another one. It's really beautiful. Thank you so much for bringing that up, Kyra. Thank you so much.
Of course, you're so welcome.
And it's very important that at times we just can't keep doing the things that we think we know and we do always. It's extremely important that we seek feedback. Correct. And sometimes it could be from somebody else, and sometimes it should be from ourselves as well. We need to seek feedback from ourselves as well, as far as I believe. So why is seeking feedback and learning from both successes and setbacks crucial for continuously building and refining confidence as a leader?
I've trained literally thousands and thousands and thousands of people on how to give and receive feedback. And one of the little exercises or games we play in my workshop is to have people, everybody stands up. Traditionally, we'd be in a room, and I would ask everybody who feels confident and enjoys feedback, please move to this corner of the room. And everybody who really doesn't like feedback, go over here. And it's very interesting to see what happens because many people will choose the black or white option, right? I love feedback or I really dislike feedback. And then there'd be all these people who would be trying to figure out where in the room they should stand, somewhere along that continuum. And as I would ask people to share, why do you really like feedback or why don't you like feedback? The answer for why people liked it was because they would say generally, I get to learn from it. I get to understand how I'm coming across, how effective I am being at whatever it is that I'm doing. And feedback is crucial to my learning. So sometimes when we're learning, we can lack confidence. Their point was, in order to feel confident, to remain confident in what I'm doing, when I get feedback, it helps me with my performance. Now, the people who really didn't like feedback because they took it personally and or it had been delivered to them at some point in their lives that caused them some trauma, either embarrassment, or they had a very strong emotional response, or they didn't feel safe. The list went on and on and on. So our ability to recognize, I am not perfect. There is no expectation for me to be perfect. I have to let go of all of the things that I need to do in my personal life, in my professional life, in my community, as you were mentioning. There's too much. Having too much to do does not give us confidence. It undermines it. Being unwilling to get feedback, to really understand where are the opportunities for me to grow and improve, stunts our growth and limits our ability to feel confident. I once heard the expression, which was very helpful, and I know it's been helpful for others. What I say is about me. What you hear is about you. So let me say that again. What I say is about me. So if I'm giving you feedback, it's based on me. This machine, this brain, this processing that takes place within my heart, body, and brain to interpret what's happening and put it through my lens of my experience and spit it back out. That means it's quite subjective. What you hear, similarly, is being the recipient of all of that information. You're also processing all of that through your brain, your body, and your heart, and all of your experiences. So where confidence comes in is to recognize and understand that distinction. I am, and you are. And I have a right to my experience, to my mistakes, to my shortcomings, and to my beauty, and to all of the things that I possess, as do you. So when we can sit fully actualized, me as me and you as you, now we can exchange information, and it's simply information. It's simply data points, and I can take what's beneficial to me, and I can cast out the rest. Doesn't mean that I don't care about you. It doesn't mean that I'm not listening. It's just input that doesn't fit or isn't valuable. So do you see how confidence is really built into this whole feedback cycle? And it really comes from recognizing and standing fully in yourself, your value, and your power, and recognizing the distinction between you and others so that you're not becoming codependent, or you're not becoming needy for that feedback, or you're not always taking it so personally. So hopefully that helps with this issue of feedback, because oftentimes feedback can undermine people's confidence, right? And so hopefully that framing can help keep that from happening.
Definitely. And when people can actually follow the mantra that you said, what I say is about me and what you hear is about you. When this gets clear in the head, then I believe there is nothing as destructive feedback. Everything is constructive. There should be constructive. It has to be constructive. So
Yeah.
absolutely wonderful. That's an amazing takeaway from today. So, and I have a last question for you. How does effective communication effective communication skills and assertiveness play a role in cultivating confidence in leadership, particularly in challenging situations or when facing resistance?
What is your vision? Do you actively use your imagination? We have these powerful brains, and one of the things that our brain does so beautifully is imagine. So can you go into a meeting? Can you re-enter your home at the end of your work day? Can you help a friend who's having difficulty by imagining the positive outcome? By imagining how you can show up in a way that's confident and strong and compassionate and understanding and loving, all of those things we want to possess. Can you imagine it? Because when we can imagine how we're going to show up in that scenario, when we can imagine what it is that we desire playing out in the way that we desire, now I can come into the situation with confidence. Another way you can do it is to really ask yourself, how do I want to show up today? What is it that I need to care for myself so that when I show up, I am fully present, fully confident, and not needing something from you. So confidence is really about understanding my needs, how I would like them met, understanding my expectation or my desire or my vision for how this will play out, and then believing it will be so. Now, you might think that that's kind of woo-woo manifestation stuff, but if you really think about your energy, come at it from an energetic perspective, think of how much energy we waste by getting into conflict or by worrying or not using our words, desiring something but not actually saying it. Wishing someone would tell us something that would make us feel better instead of just mustering up those words and telling ourselves, right? Think of how much communication can create opportunity and how much it can truncate, cut it off. And then understand how you want to show up energetically, believing, confident that whatever it is that you desire can actually happen, and then watch what happens. Watch how people around you communicate with you differently because you're showing up fully believing that when you communicate your expectations, desires, concerns, whatever it is that you're communicating, that you will be heard and you will be seen. And if you are not heard and not seen, then you can go back and analyze, evaluate, was there a different way I could have approached this? Then I'll learn. Or do I just need to recognize the reality of that person, that event, that situation, that I was never going to get what I needed, no matter how I communicated? Confidence is about believing and recognizing that I did the very best I could today. And if I don't answer that question as saying, yes, I did the very best I could today, I can still be confident and come back into it tomorrow and try again.
Beautiful. It was a true, insightful answer that all of our listeners would definitely want, and me as well. So, thank you so much for giving us a detailed analysis on how communication skills are extremely important, how it can definitely help your confidence boost. So, thank you so much today as well, Kyra. It was great talking to you as usual. And I really, really, really hope all our listeners have beautiful takeaways from this episode today. Thank you so much.
I hope so too. Thank you so much. I hope everybody has a beautiful, beautiful day today. Thank you. Feel confident. Feel confident. You're a beautiful human being. You deserve to feel confident today.
Thank you so much. Wonderful.
Thank you.
So that was Cavanaugh for all of you today, and you're listening to TALRadio powered by Touch a Life Foundation. This is your host, Jayasree, signing off for today. Stay tuned and keep learning.